I want to say too, I was kind of thinking about this to myself. Give me your opinion on this. I think that if perhaps I had done Zora before, specifically Rito, I might think more fondly of this.
Don't know. And I know that Nintendo created this game to you can go wherever you want and do whatever you want, but there's also a specific way they kind of want you to do it
Right.
that's like very hinted. So I kind of wish they told us to go to Zora first because
The
it
most
just after
basic.
after something so epic as Rito and something so like it wasn't as epic, but it was like sweet and like there was like a cool story that went along with it. And Yonobo had some clear growth. Something after those two, it just didn't sit with me as well as the other two did. It was a little underwhelming. That's a good word.
Yeah. I would. I don't even know if I want to say it was underwhelming. It just wasn't on the level of the other three because I think
Mm.
that those ones were on a really high level. Whereas you're probably going to hear me say this a lot about the Zora portion. This felt like it was just right out of Breath of the Wild, like the
Yeah.
exact same kind of setup, the exact like basically from start to finish. It felt like this was out of Breath of the Wild, and it was something from 2017 versus the other ones that I think clearly had some more. God, I almost said effort, but like I don't know. There's just more to them. They felt advanced or they felt evolved. Whereas this
Hmm.
one felt very like I said, like it's out of Breath of the Wild. So let's talk about it. So the first thing that you're going to notice about Zora's domain is that it is covered in sludge
Hmm.
everywhere. Everywhere is
Pollution.
sludge. And I have this thing about me. It happens in Mario Sunshine. It happens in Splatoon. If I see like sludge, something kicks in. I'm like, I got to get rid of all of it. I got to get rid
Yeah.
of every little bit. So I
Were
was,
you?
yeah, like not all of it, but like
Yeah.
certain spots. I was just like, okay, time to take out my rusty broadsword and fuse it with the hydro pump and just start cleaning and getting to work. So in that sense, like I can't sit here and say like I didn't have fun with the Zora part because like I did,
Hmm.
like it was fun enough. And like I don't know, there's something about it that's just kind of like rewarding, but then it's immediately dirtied back up again, so that wasn't that
Yeah.
rewarding.
And I do like appreciate the phenomena that they had because like it feels like every phenomena was very like traumatic to the people and to the region,
Hmm.
and for fish people, having their water polluted is just like horrifying.
Yeah,
And they were getting sick and it was awful. So like I appreciated what the phenomena was and I thought that was
yeah.
substantial and significant. So I did like that portion, yeah.
Well, like yeah, like I think the premise of it is quite good. And it's strong. Like you said, like it's a pretty traumatic thing. So
Hmm.
when I started, I was like, okay, here we go. And then so you get to Zora's domain and you get to meet a new character,
New
uh,
character.
Yona.
Yona. I just want to point out that I never got into the craze of Sidon, so I loved Yona, but I have seen some stuff online where Yona is not well received.
No, I saw that too. There's like a Kotaku article about it, and they were like, people hate Yona.
It's so sad for no reason other than what part she plays.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like I like Sidon. He's fine,
He's
but
fine.
yeah, I agree. I wasn't. I never quite understood it. Listen, I saw the memes with Pura in this game, and I
Yeah.
understood that Sidon. I don't know if I really ever understood. Hydrated Ganon, I understood.
Yeah.
Never
I
really
think
got
it's because
Sidon.
Sidon is really a fish.
I don't know. It's not the fish. I like Mifa, but
Okay, fair enough.
something about anyways. Yeah, Yona gets a bad reputation online for no reason at all other than making a honest man out of our boy Sidon. But
Yeah.
so we meet her. She looks interesting, by the way. She looks almost like
She
a
looks like
frog
Muzu.
Ritu. Yeah,
I thought she looked like Muzu, who's like the manta ray kind of looking green dude that hates your guts for no
yeah.
reason at all.
Yeah, he's kind of an old bitter sort.
Yeah.
But I kind of like her design. Like I said, it looked manta ray frogish, kind of like a different kind of different kind of Zora, which I thought was kind of cool. Anyways,
Yeah.
she's just like, hey, you got to go meet Sidon. He's doing something very important, and you don't know exactly what it is, but she sends you to meet Sidon. And what he's actually doing is pretty cool. He's like using his mystic powers to clear the water for the rest of the Zora, and the dude can't take a break, or else the water is gonna be overrun with sludge.
Muck. Yeah.
So I mean, like it starts off, I don't know, it starts off pretty strong, but like I just, from there, I think that you have to go and you got to find like the ancient like Waterworks, and like that's okay, and like you go underneath in this kind of cool catacomb, and like that's pretty fun, but it I don't know, there was just something about that was like missing, maybe.
Say personally, I really liked the Waterworks. I think a lot of like the stuff where you do things with to get to the temples, there's like the portion that you do connecting with the sage, and then you do the portion of getting to the dungeon, and then you do the dungeon. And
Yeah.
I felt like it was a little bit disjointed when it came to Sidon, and mostly because he's up there, he couldn't leave, he couldn't do anything with you. Where the other ones kind of are with you from almost start to finish. So I actually really like the Waterworks area, just because the music is like incredible. There's like this really cool choir bit to it. It's like this underground, beautiful like water temple, almost like lake bed kind of feel.
Kind of, yeah.
I didn't like lake bed, but I thought the aesthetic of lake bed was really cool. So it was very pretty and sounded very cool, and I liked that portion.
It almost felt like that should have been the water temple versus like what actually ended up being the water temple.
Mm-hmm.
So but it was just like a little bit too short. That's what I meant by missing. Not that I didn't like it, because I did. I agree. I thought it was like a very cool kind of aesthetic and vibe, but it was over like quite quickly. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, if I'm missing a step, like basically right after, you have to go and find the King Zora, who got into a fight with a muck covered monster and is healing, and you got to go track him down, which like doesn't I don't know, it doesn't have the same kind of like panache as the other quest that we've talked about again, which like, not that it's not fun, but it's kind of like pretty quickly you find him, you got to sneak up on those little kids, which isn't like all that it's not all that fun, and then you got to go find him, talk to him, and that's kind of the next little part of your quest. But it was missing to me that big hook, I guess.
Yeah. I want to say that the king portion is actually before the Waterworks, because
is it okay? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he gives you like the king's spear or something that you attach to your arrow, and you do like a quick quest to open the Waterworks with that.
Which by the way was pretty cool, because like there's a bunch of floating rocks, and if you look at them from the right angle, they make
a tear.
Yeah,
or like a droplet.
So that was actually pretty cool. But again, like I think maybe my problem as I'm talking it out with you, Al, is like everything felt like kind of bite sized. Like there was like like a bunch of like random little things that you had to do, versus like one kind of like, again, like to compare it to the Rito, which maybe isn't fair. Like it was one big climb, or like with Yunobo, it was like one source that's kind of, getting all these guys acting out of sorts that you need to take care of.
That kind of, I think, where I said it was like disjointed, that makes a lot of sense now when you put the other two that way, where it does feel like one long kind of cycle, whereas with the Zora, it's just like, okay, go do this, go do this, go do this, but it doesn't feel like a flow. It feels very kind of disjointed, especially because your connection with Sidon is also disjointed and all that, whereas you're very connected with the other two sages, that we've talked about before.
I agree. Right before you said that, I was about to bring up too, I think you brought up a good point, where it's like, you don't really get to hang out with Sidon like almost at all until you actually get to the water temple. And I will say too, so like the next portion of what you have to do, and I could be skipping a part as well, but the next portion that I remember, you're going up and you've got your Zora armor, which is very cool. I still haven't found the top or the bottom yet. I don't know where those are. But
you gotta talk to our girl Yona.
I guess. You know what, by the way, one thing that I really like in Tears of the Kingdom with the Zora armor is that you don't have to press A when you get to the waterfall anymore. You just hit it and you go right up.
Yeah. It's cool. I love that. Yeah.
It's such an improvement.
That's a good quality of life improvement.
Yeah, cuz like especially for the type of stuff that we're doing now. So like there's these really cool floating islands in the sky that are have these waterfalls coming out, and you gotta basically like swim up them and sail over to the next
In low
waterfall.
gravity too.
Yeah, low gravity. It's very cool. Although I'm still waiting for like an explanation or reason for the low gravity.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be one.
This game has a couple things that they need to explain, and I feel very Andy Spiteri and being like, where the heck are where's all the Sheikah stuff? They don't explain anything.
I will say that the low gravity thing, it doesn't bug me as much because I'm like, why is this like this? And then I'm like, oh, whatever.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Whatever. Like, but so this part is very cool, and being able to just like hit the waterfall and go straight up is way better, than before. And this is pretty fun too. And like there is some fun, like I don't want to call them puzzles, but like ways that you need to get up there, especially with, like the floating low G bubbles that we saw in the trailer that you need to ride and that kind of stuff. Like, like it's fun, but again, you don't have Sidon, and it is. This is probably the longest part of it, but
he even suggests splitting up, which is so weird compared to the other ones. You're with them the whole time, and he's like, "Let's split up and find the entrance to this temple." And it's like, why are we splitting up? You're supposed to be my pal, you know?
It doesn't help that he has he doesn't feel very useful there either, right? Because like you're soaring through the air, and when you're doing that with Tulin, it's like, okay, like he's actually incredibly useful because he's helping me get to the point A to point B. When you have Yunobo, it's like, okay, this guy's breaking boulders, breaking rocks in front of me, and as we'll talk about in a bit, like Riju is essential to what you're doing. And Sidon, he's not really, like he's just kind of there. And it also doesn't help that he has like just in generally speaking, not even in terms of like this specific climb, but like he has like, I would say by far the like least useful ability. I don't know.
I almost feel bad that I have all the other stages enabled and I have Sidon disabled. I feel bad about that. But at the same time, he just gets in the way, and his gift isn't as beneficial to me as like Mipha's Grace, you know?
Or Daruk's Protection, which I think is what it's supposed to mimic.
Yeah.
But Daruk's Protection was like incredibly useful. Yeah,
and it was like
you use
automatic
it.
Shield.
This one, not so much. I really haven't found, like beyond the water temple, I haven't found a use for the water ability that you get from your weapons. I mean, I guess like the shield is like the main draw, but it's no Daruk's Protection, that's for sure, or Mipha's Grace, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
So yeah, I mean, like you eventually you scale your way up to the water temple, and I don't want to talk a whole lot about the temple because we're going to be talking about it next week. But yeah, this one was very I don't know, basic. You know how I was saying last week, like some of these dungeons feel like kind of the best of both worlds, like the new style open world Zelda dungeon that we got in Breath of the Wild mixed with like some elements of classic Zelda dungeons. This to me was like Va Water Temple. Like it was like a divine beast. Yeah.
Va Water Temple. It was. And I tried really, really hard to do everything organically in this temple, but I could see how it could be very, 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 very easily cheesed. Like,
yeah. So
so that was kind of like one of those things where I know if I play Tears of the Kingdom again, I'm going to get to this temple and be like, I could just use a hover bike to get to all of these, and the puzzles are pretty simple to cheese. So
yeah. So I mean, we'll talk more about it. We'll talk more about it next week. The boss fight, I will say, was actually, I thought it was like relatively challenging. Actually, I don't know about you.
I thought this was a missed opportunity so I was going into this temple assuming that the boss would be Gaiorg, and I thought this would have been a cool way to bring back the Minish Cap interpretation of Gaiorg, because you're up in the sky, you know. I just thought that would have been really cool to have a giant flying manta ray, you know. So I had high expectations, and I did that to myself, and I was kind of disappointed. I thought it was like, compared to the other two bosses that we've like already faced, and we can talk about this in more detail. I personally was disappointed.
Yeah, I wasn't disappointed with the boss. I was a little like, I don't know if I want to go as far as to say disappointed, but like a little just I don't know, underwhelmed, I guess, with like the whole Zora presentation, because that was one of my favorite areas in Breath of the Wild. Like I thought the story with Mipha was great. I thought that the Sidon, the character, was great. I thought it was really fun riding on Sidon in like that's the thing. Like Sidon felt like essential when you were trying to get on Varuto, and in here he's just basically like, I'm cleaning the water. Let me know when you're up to the water temple. I'll meet you there.
And you only really use his power to activate like the things that you need to activate in the dungeon, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, like you could use it to clear the pathway of sludge, but like, I mean, let's be real here. You probably already have like a weapon that's fused with the hydro pump, and you're just clearing stuff out of the way yourself.
Hydro pump, splash fruit, they all are much quicker than using Sidon, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and then once you use it too, you have to wait for it to recharge, which also takes forever. And even like in the boss battle, you don't have time to wait for him to recharge. So he was. It was kind of weird. He was just kind of there. And by the way, speaking of Mipha, there was that nice little monument that they made for her.
Yeah, Mipha's court. Because when you get to Zora's domain, there's the statue of Mipha is not there. Yeah. It's Link and Sidon, and I was like, "What the heck? Where's me? Why would they get rid of it?" And then it turns out it's up in Mipha's court, and I thought that was cool.
That was cute. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/TheZeldaCast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.